In '99, the most respected investor on the planet was asked about the internet boom. He said no. While every hedge fund on Wall Street was throwing money at dot-com stocks like confetti at a wedding, Warren Buffett sat in Omaha, Nebraska, eating a cheeseburger, and did absolutely nothing. Everyone laughed at him. 2 years later, the entire market collapsed. Warren Buffett lost nothing. This is the story of the man who turned doing nothing into the greatest superpower in the history of money. Warren Edward Buffett was born on August 30th, 1930 in Omaha, Nebraska. His father, Howard, was a stockbroker and congressman. His mother, Layla, was brilliant, sharp, and deeply difficult. On her bad days, she would spend hours telling her children exactly how worthless they were. Warren learned very early that the world outside his home was safer than the world inside it, so he went outside. At age 6, he bought 6 packs of Coca-Cola from his grandfather's grocery store for 25 cents each. Then he walked door to door through his neighborhood selling individual cans for a nickel each. Profit per pack, 5 cents. He was 6 years old and he already understood margins better than most MBA BC graduates. By age 10, he had read every single book about investing in the Omaha Public Library. Every single one. His father once took him to the New York Stock Exchange. While every other kid would have stared at the ceiling, 10-year-old Warren sat in the corner asking traders questions for 3 hours straight. He wasn't a normal child. Everyone around him knew it. Warren knew it too. At 11, he made his first stock purchase. 3 shares of City Service Preferred at $38 each. The stock dropped to $27. Warren held. It recovered to $40. He sold. He made $5. Then the stock went to $200. Warren Buffett learned the most important lesson of his entire career at age 11, and it cost him $5. Patience. By the time most teenagers were worrying about homework and who to take to prom, Warren Buffett was running a small business empire. At 13, he delivered newspapers on 5 different routes simultaneously. He filed his first tax return that same year, deducting his bicycle as a business expense. He was 13. At 15, he and his friend bought a used pinball machine for $25 and installed it in a barbershop. Within months, they had 3 machines running in 3 different barbershops. They eventually sold the whole operation for $1,200. Warren split the money with his partner, bought more stocks, and never looked back. By the time he graduated high school, he had saved over $9,000, roughly $100,000 in today's money. He wasn't saving it to spend it. He didn't want to spend it. Spending money physically pained him. Every dollar he spent, he saw not as $1, but as the $10, the $100, the $1,000 it would eventually become if he just left it alone. This was not a strategy. This was not discipline. This was just how Warren Buffett's brain worked. At 17, Warren applied to the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, one of the most prestigious business schools in the world. He got in. He hated it. He transferred to the University of Nebraska, finished his degree in 3 years, then applied to the one place he truly wanted to be, Harvard Business School. Harvard rejected him. The man who would become the greatest investor in human history was told by Harvard that he was not good enough. Warren was devastated for exactly as long as it took him to find an alternative. He discovered that his hero, the legendary economist and investor Benjamin Graham, was teaching at Columbia University. He applied to Columbia. He got in. He wrote Graham a letter saying he thought the stock market was overvalued. Graham wrote back, for the first time in his life, Warren Buffett had found someone who thought the way he did. He got an A+ in Graham's class, the only A+ Graham had given in 22 years of teaching. After Columbia, Warren wanted to work for Benjamin Graham for free. Graham said no. Warren went back to Omaha, got a job as a stockbroker, got married to a woman named Susie, who was warm, social, generous, everything Warren was not, and spent 2 years cold calling clients and quietly losing his mind. Then Graham finally called. Warren packed everything and moved to New York to work at Graham Newman Corporation. He was 24 years old. He was finally exactly where he wanted to be. 2 years later, Graham retired and closed the firm. Warren went back to Omaha. This time, he didn't look for a job. He started his own fund. He called 7 family members and friends into his living room and told them he was starting an investment partnership. He would manage the money. They would be silent partners. He would charge no management fee, only a percentage of profits above 6%. His initial investors put in $105,000. Warren put in $100. Not because he didn't have more. He had plenty. He just didn't want to risk a single unnecessary dollar of his own money before he had to. Over the next 13 years, the Buffett partnership returned 29% per year on average. The stock market returned 7%. Warren Buffett didn't just beat the market, he made the market look like it was standing still. By 1962, he was a millionaire. By 1965, he had taken control of a failing textile company called Berkshire Hathaway. It was not a good business. Warren himself later called it the worst investment he ever made, but he turned it into the vehicle that would carry everything else. Meanwhile, at home, something was quietly breaking. Susie had spent years building a life, raising 3 children, hosting dinners, managing a household, mostly alone. Warren was always thinking, always reading, always somewhere else inside his head, even when he was physically present. He wasn't cruel. He wasn't absent on purpose. He simply could not stop his brain from doing what it did. Susie loved him completely, and she was exhausted completely. In 1907, Susie told Warren she was leaving, not divorcing him, but moving to San Francisco to pursue her own life. Before she left, she introduced Warren to a woman named Astrid Menks, a waitress at a local restaurant, and asked her to look after him. Astrid moved in. Warren, Susie, and Astrid eventually became one of the most unusual and genuinely loving arrangements in the history of American celebrity. They sent Christmas cards together, signed jointly, Warren, Susie, and Astrid. Through the 1980s and 1990s, Warren Buffett became something no investor had ever quite become before, a folk hero. People didn't just want to invest with him, they wanted to be near him, to understand how he thought. Every year, he wrote a letter to Berkshire shareholders that people across the entire financial world read like scripture. He lived in the same house in Omaha he had bought in 1958 for $31,000. He drove himself to work. He drank 5 Coca-Colas a day, always cherry Coke after Berkshire bought a stake in Coca-Cola. He ate at McDonald's, always the same order. He decided the order based on how the market was doing that morning. Good day, the bacon, egg and cheese biscuit. Bad day, the sausage McMuffin. It was 30 cents cheaper. The second richest man in the world, 30 cents. While his net worth climbed past 10 billion, 20 billion, 30 billion, Warren Buffett barely changed. He still answered his own phone. He still read 500 pages a day. He still thought of every dollar he spent as the compounded future value he was destroying. In 2004, Susie Buffett was diagnosed with cancer. She died that same year. Warren Buffett, the man who had navigated every market crash, every financial crisis, every moment of uncertainty with complete, unshakable calm, was not calm. He was lost. He had always assumed she would outlive him. He had never once prepared himself for the alternative. In 2006, he announced he would give away over 99% of his entire fortune, the vast majority to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Not after his death, now, while he was alive to see it working. Hundreds of billions of dollars. The greatest act of giving in human history from a man who once agonized over a 30-cent hamburger. Someone once asked Warren Buffett the secret to his success. He said, "I got very lucky. I was born in the right country at the right time. I happened to have a skill that got rewarded enormously by society. If I had been born with the same brain in Bangladesh, it wouldn't have mattered." He paused. Then he smiled. "Buy good companies, hold them forever, and don't do anything stupid in between." He went back to his office. He had 500 pages to read before dinner.